It's time to fire this thing up.
Welcome aboard ShipShape TV Essentials. This is your port of call for the most impactful upgrades, expert advice, and hands-on solutions from seasons past. This episode is proudly brought to you by SureHold, because anything worth doing is worth doing bright. From cleaning to protecting and perfecting, SureHold has everything you need to keep your boat shining. Don't just go boating, go showboating. Now, let's hoist anchor and set a course for another exciting episode of ShipShape TV Essentials.
Countersink some holes, screw it down, and I'm again going to let this blast out. Dry fit this thing into the boat. 5 3/4 inches. That isn't going to cut it. Hi, I'm John Greviskis. It's good to have you working around the boat with us again. I'm not too thrilled with the seats that the manufacturer selected for this boat. First off, they're black, and that just ain't going to cut it down here in sunny South Florida, especially in the summertime when you're wearing shorts. Can you say ouch? I also don't like the finish on these things. Now, it's the same stuff that they spray into a truck bed liner. It's very, very durable stuff, but it's not very user-friendly. Whenever I walk through to the helm, I scrape the back of my legs on this stuff, and I also don't like the fact that these things are just a little bit too close to one another. So we're going to be changing things today here at ShipShape TV by looking at what our options would be for new seating, and we're going to be looking at what some of the new mounting hardware is all about. We're also going to be jumping back on our 1966 20-foot Bertram Moppy project boat, and we're going to be looking at seating for that vessel as well by getting into pedestal bases and backing plates, and we'll be touching on bimini tops. So here's the deal. It's a trade-off. We need to get you to spend the next 30 minutes with us. And in exchange, right after I gather up some tools for mounting in these new seats, we're going to be letting you in on a few more ways to make your boat shipshape. Let's see, these things are 18.5 wide.
This is a real working 28-acre boatyard located in Stuart, Florida, on the shores of the Okeechobee Waterway. It's home base for ShipShape TV. This deep stretch of water connects the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. And now, once again, here's the host of ShipShape TV, John Greviskis.
Well, thanks, Buck. Before we start the process of removing these original seats, I'd like to get into what some of our options would be for new seating, as well as some of the new mounting hardware that's available to the boater. This is Chuck Hefner, and he's the general manager of a Lewis Marine distribution center, the Stuart, Florida location. And Lewis is one of the largest distributors to wholesalers in the country. And Chuck, I just want to thank you for stopping by.
It's a pleasure, John.
You already know a little bit about how I feel about these seats. You know that I think they're too close together. Again, I only have about 5 3/4 inches right here getting up to the helm. I also don't like the color. I don't like the finish. But I want to tell you a little bit about some other things that I'm looking for in a seat. This is a model year 2000 16-foot aluminum chambered boat, and this boat was designed to go in rough water. And when you're navigating rough water, you want to be able to stand at the helm and navigate through the water rather than sitting. Reason being is if you're sitting and you're taking a pounding, that could hurt your lower back, right?
Oh, yeah.
Now look what happens when I'm standing at the helm here, moving the wheel back and forth. I put on a hydraulic steering system, a Morse control hydraulic steering system, along with this aluminum Edson wheel that has a suicide knob. And as I'm moving it back and forth, it's hitting me in the legs. So if possible, Chuck, I'd like to get a seat that could slide back out of the way. I'd also like them to be able to spin. Whether I'm trolling or something like that, I'd like to be able to look behind the boat. And for this passenger chair, that'd be great. That'd be a great spotting chair for water skiing or for wakeboarding. Plus, I'd like to get a little bit higher up. When I'm sitting in the boat, my line of sight is kind of blocked by the bow. If I could get up about 3 inches, that would really be great. And if I could have a little straighter back, I think that would be ideal. Do I have a prayer?
Okay, well, let's take a look and see what our mounting options here are. Chair's held in with carriage bolts, through bolted. 45 angle aluminum bracket coming up from the bottom. That's good support. And the bracket here is 7 inches. Let's see what we can do here.
Okay, let me get a little closer to the dock.
Come back here, I'll hold the boat in for you.
And I'll get off. Okay. Well, we got some seats.
Yes, we do. Some nice chairs by Todd here. This is a molded plastic chair. It's got your mounting holes for your swivels or your sliders or all that. Arms. This chair also comes with an option for some cushions over here, John.
Now back up here before you get into the cushions. What's this stuff made out of?
This is a white poly.
Okay.
Okay, the cushions, they mount on right here. You got snaps that you can install on the chair. That slides over the back like that, and then you install the snaps if you option for the cushions. If not, of course, you don't want snaps on your chair.
All right.
And then here again is another Todd product. This is a nice chair. It's got the teak wood back slats and basically same mounting for your
Who are the players? How many different chair companies are there?
Oh, there's 20 to 30 different chair manufacturers.
Right.
Right here today we have Todd, Gearlick, Pomponette.
All right. So these are a poly chair. They look a little wide. I'm trying to get something, a little less than 18.5 inches.
Yeah, this won't be applicable for this boat. We need to go into a cushion chair here with a swing down back.
Who makes this one?
This one is made by Gearlick. This is a nice chair. Like I said, the back folds up, folds down. It's got a wood bottom, 360-degree swivel.
Okay.
You wanted a turn to look off the back of the boat. This will give you that. As far as your room, you wanted more room for your knees along the wheel. You take this slide assembly, mount this on your swivel, tighten it down to wherever you want it to sit. And you can move it at all times.
Looks like I'm going to gain some height here too.
Yeah, there you'll get your 3 inches that you wanted to, so you can see over the windshield.
Well, I was thinking about a pedestal as well. Would that work?
Pedestal will not work on this application. This is a Todd pedestal here. This is an adjustable one. It goes from 12 to 18 inches, and it's adjustable to your height. But this base is 9 inches in diameter. Your bracket we just saw was 7 inches. You're going to be hanging over an inch on each side.
So pedestal isn't going to work.
Pedestal
We're going to have to go with the swivel, and we're going to have to go with the slide.
The swivel and the slide gives you all your options. You get up 3 inches, you can swivel 360 degrees, and you come back from the wheel so you're not rubbing your legs.
Talk to me, ballpark, how much would a chair like this run me with a wood shell?
Approximately $60.
About $60.
This chair.
I'm not very thrilled with the wood shell.
No.
Especially down here in Florida, we get a lot of rain, we get a lot of fresh water that's going to be getting into this boat, and I've seen shells that rot on boat owners. Is there something else that I could possibly get?
Yeah, Gearlick came up with a great idea. This is a nicer chair because it has the plastic molded bottom. Will not rot.
Okay.
Okay?
So this is a poly shell that they're using, and again, you have the swivel on it.
Yes.
Okay, now how much would a chair like this run me?
This one's approximately $80.
So it's nominally priced. They're very close in price.
Yeah, but this chair will last a lot longer. You'll get a lot more of your $20 out of this chair rather than that one being the plastic bottom shell.
Okay, now what is this contraption here, Chuck?
This is a shock absorber made by Gearlick. It's pretty neat. It's the Millennium 2000 shock absorber for your chair. You pull the pin out, you lift it up. You can adjust these grommets forward, and they'll give you a lot more sturdier ride. You see there's no bounce, no spring there.
Okay.
Okay? But if you slide them back, all the way back, fold it down, put your locking pin in, you can see, look at the way that gives.
Man, seats have
Nice.
come a long way,
Yeah.
let me tell you. Now, how much does something like this run?
I believe that's about $90.
Okay, could this work on our boat, or are we still limited to that 7 inches?
You've got that 7-inch there. We can't use this. We can use it on the Bertram, no problem though.
Let's go take a look at what our options are for the Bertram.
Okay,
Come on,
you got it,
let's go.
John.
Well, Chuck, what I like about those options that you're pointing out is I'm now going to be able to slide that seat forward and back. I can pivot it, and it's going to give me that height that I'm looking to gain.
Yep.
Wow, you've got quite a display set up here for the Bertram.
Yeah, we brought a few chairs here.
All right, what's this?
We'll open up with a pomponette. This is a 28-inch wide chair with arms. It's got the starboard back, starboard bottom,
Let's take a look at it.
the
Wow, it's
starboard
heavy.
arms. Yes, it is. All the aluminum frame, pedestal and everything. It's a really nice chair. It comes with cushions and everything. This chair is a little expensive. It's, you know, about 550 bucks.
Ouch.
Okay? And we have the same chair here. It's got all the aluminum work, starboard bottom and back, pedestal, all that good stuff on there.
Looks a little bigger than this one.
Yes, this one's a little bit wider. This is about 28 inches wide.
What's the price difference?
This one's probably about 50 bucks more.
Okay.
Okay? And then we have probably the #1 seller here. This is a Pomponette P2000 Helms chair.
It's a good looking chair.
Yes, it is. It's made out of fiberglass. You know, it's got the non-skid on the arms, nice cushions, very comfortable, aluminum hardware, and slider, spider on it, all polished aluminum.
This is a gorgeous looking chair. How much?
This one is 750 bucks.
That's a little out of my price range.
That hurts.
All right. Okay. I see that we have something a little more affordable.
Yes, we have some folding chairs here. Once again, the wood bottom.
Okay.
With the Bertram, I don't think you want to go this way. It's a classy boat. You want something a little nicer.
Okay. These are made by Garelick. So we have Pomponette and we have Garelick so far. Pedestals. Tell me about pedestals.
Pedestals are nice. You mount your chair on a pedestal. They come in all different heights, fluted, and however. The important thing is mounting the pedestal. Because you've got a 200-pound man up on a pedestal, it gets a good amount of torque on it. So you got to come up with a backing plate idea. And this is a backing plate. If you get below the deck, you want to put a backing plate under your deck.
Okay.
Okay?
This is aluminum.
Yes.
That you've
Aluminum,
made?
tapped
Okay.
out with holes, and you just put that under the deck, and then you mount the pedestal on it. And it gives you some more stability in when you're mounting your pedestal.
So you sandwich the deck in between this backing plate and this pedestal.
Yes, yes.
Okay. Now, what if you can't do that? What if you can't get a backing plate to that area of the boat?
Unfortunately, that happens a lot. And that's when you got to come in and use these toggles, which you drill a 1/2-inch hole, you put the toggle through, and you slide it down, it locks it in place.
Just like in a wall, like an anchor in a wall.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
And then you can mount your pedestal through the deck to the toggle, and the toggle gives you a little bit more support.
Okay. Now I see that we have some different accessories here laid out.
Yes, we have sliders here that you can mount under the chair so you can slide up and back. And we have footrests that actually mount onto the pedestal so you have a place to rest your feet. Okay. And this is another footrest made by Todd, and this one also by Pomponette.
All right.
Okay.
Now who makes these chairs?
This is Garelick. This is the one I suggest you use on the Bertram. It's a nice, pretty chair, nice and comfortable.
It's a very good
durable.
chair.
It's made out of starboard with cushions, spider, everything to mount on a pedestal. Okay. This chair, you can also, if you want to opt, you can use the arms. But in the Bertram, I don't think we're going to have the room.
Okay, but if you wanted to go with armrests, that's absolutely an option.
Yes.
What does a chair like this run?
This one costs about $289.
Not bad. That is in my price
Yes.
range. This is a great looking chair. Well, Chuck, thanks for stopping by, but if I'm going to get done here today, I got to get busy.
You got a lot of work ahead of you, man.
Appreciate it.
Take care.
Well, the first thing we're going to be getting into is we're going to remove these old seats from the boat. Chuck was saying that they're held in with 4 carriage bolts here at the top. And what happens is when you have a nylock type of nut, which is what we have here, very common in the marine community, and a carriage bolt, when you go to back that nylon lock nut off of the carriage bolt, the head will spin. That's what the screwdriver's for. I'm going to pry it up underneath this carriage bolt, and that's going to give me some pressure so that it won't spin. Now I'll back it off. Let's go ahead and get this other one out of the way. Good deal. Now, I'm hoping that the slide that Chuck recommended is going to fit the same hole pattern. Oh, that is nice. That's going to fit very, very well. Now, this is the mounting hardware that I'm going to be using. These are stainless steel 1/4-20s, again with nylock locking nuts. We're also going to use a couple of washers. And when you're using stainless on an aluminum situation, the slide is aluminum along with the boat is aluminum, you need to have some type of an anti-seize on the threads to keep the two dissimilar metals away from each other. Now all I need to do is mount the seats right to the slides. Let's figure this thing out. With the seats now installed, and now that I have these slides, it gives me a lot more room while I'm up here at the helm. I've probably gained about 3 or 4 inches of clearance. These are really going to be nice.
As John ties up some loose ends, let's see what the G-Man looks for when he's selecting a candidate that very well could be the next Ship-Shape TV project boat. Mr. G, what you got?
This is called a phenolic hammer. It's a plastic type of tool that marine surveyors will use when they're evaluating the hull of a boat. It tells them what's going on beneath the surface of the fiberglass. Take a listen. Do you hear that pitch? It's pretty deep. Listen to this. This is a structural fiberglass repair that we've done to the boat. And we know that this vessel is originally cored with balsa core, and there may be a problem going on in this area. Now, where you would really want to use one of these is at the transom. Come on, let's take a look at that. Now, these hammers can be bought at an auto store. Some of the different hardware stores will carry these types of hammers. And when you're evaluating the transom of the boat, you want to take a listen and a look at the top and the bottom. Reason being is over the years, a lot of the boat manufacturers have used wood cores in the transom. And if a screw, like this screw that's holding this transducer wire, was never properly sealed into that transom, water is going to absorb into the wood and start the process of rot. Now, the good news is if you do have a rotted transom that you're looking at when you're buying a boat, it can be fixed. The downside is it's going to take a lot of time and it's going to take some money, and you want to factor that into the price that you're negotiating for the boat.
Hey, John, great tip. That'll help a lot of people. But unfortunately, the project is not complete, so let's get back into it.
Chuck recommended some type of a backing plate when you're installing a pedestal base, if at all possible. I took my scrap aluminum to the metal shop out here at American Custom Yachts, and Freddie cut it to size using the aluminum bandsaw. Then he took off the sharp edges with the flapper wheel, and he matched the hole pattern on the pedestal base to the newly fabricated backing plate. He bored the holes using a drill press, and then he tapped in some threads. He again cut the backing plate on the bandsaw, but this time it was in half so it would fit down into a hole. This little X here represents where I would like my pedestal base to center. And again, this is 9 1/4 inches wide. And so basically our footprint is going to go all the way around here. Now, while I've got this thing in place, what I'd like to do is I would like to mark out for the mounting bolts. And then what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to have to take a hole saw and make some sort of an exploratory hole. I want to see what we're dealing with. I want to see if first there may be a stringer coming up here. There also may be some foam underneath the deck. And I just want to make sure that we can get under there and get some sort of a backing plate beneath this pedestal. Otherwise, we're going to have to go with those toggles. Okay, let me get some safety glasses on. And what I'm going to do with this hole saw, this is a 1-inch hole saw, is I'm going to cut into the deck off center. I'm not going to go straight into the center of my area. I'm going to come off center right here, and we're going to take a look at what's down below. see what we're dealing with here. Feels like foam. Let me get my flashlight. Yep, it's definitely foam down there. And we're gonna have to do some digging. Let me get out my 4-inch hole saw. I'm gonna come right in the center now, and I'm gonna take a 4-inch hole saw. Now this is why I drilled off center. I did an exploratory hole over here. Now I'm gonna do a 4-inch hole, and I'm hoping that I'm not going to be running into a stringer. With all of the foam, I can't tell if there's any kind of a stringer back there. So we're gonna have to keep going. I think we're going to be fine with this. We are going to have to dig out some of this foam. And get our backing plate in there. Well, I've gotten all my foam out from underneath this hole, and now what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill all of those pencil marks that I made for my bolts. This thing's centered. Now check out the wood Bertram used back in 1966. That's mahogany. That's not plywood at all. It's incredible. You just don't see that anymore today. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put the backing plate over these holes, just like this. And I'm going to take a punch, and I'm going to punch these other 2 holes, because this is what's going to help me. Let me get my hammer. This is what's going to help me hold this thing to the deck, and then I can mount the base right over top. Let's go ahead and get this backing plate in there. Now I'll spin this around, and we're going to temporarily hold this thing into place using these screws right here. Well, I've double checked for all of the bolts, and everything lines up with our backing plate. Now all we need to do is mix up a little bit of epoxy, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to seal the edge of this hole. We don't want any delamination to happen down the road. And then we're going to go ahead and we're going to set this pedestal base into place, and we're going to make sure that we use a good polyurethane adhesive on every one of these bolts. We don't want any water getting down into these holes as well. We don't want any rot to ever happen down into the bottom of this deck. Take a look at how rock solid this thing is to the deck. Now let me go ahead and put the chair on. That kind of gives you an idea of what we're dealing with. This chair spins. We've got plenty of room. It's really, really going to be nice. Let's see what it feels like. Oh, this is very, very comfortable. I tell you, these things just get better and better. We answered a bunch of your questions in regards to boat maintenance. And speaking of questions, we're going to be getting into answering a viewer's question directly right after Buck gives you our addresses.
Our mailing address is Shipshape TV, P.O. Box 31561, Palm Beach Gardens, Florida 33420. Or if you have internet access, the address is shipshapetv.com.
Okay, here's today's viewer question. It comes from Nick Willis, who lives in Calgary, Alberta, Canada, way up north. And Nick writes, I have a new 1999 Evinrude 115 horsepower motor, fuel injected. My question, after watching your show about fogging outboards, can you also fog a fuel injected motor for storage? And if not, what should I do? Nick, very, very popular question. I'll be happy to answer it. Yes, you should fog that fuel injected engine. In fact, I recommend fogging that fuel injected engine for any type of long-term storage. What happens is if you don't get a fogging oil back behind the spark plug into the cylinder heads, onto the rings, what's going to happen is your rings could actually seize up on you. So you want to remove the spark plug, shoot a little bit of the fogging oil in it, and crank the engine over just a couple of turns. This is going to lubricate the ring and keep it for a long, long time. You also need to spray some fogging oil into the air induction ports. Now, unlike a two-stroke engine, you don't have a carburetor here with fuel-injected technology, but you do have those ports, and they need to be fogged as well. Look in your owner's manual for the proper type of fogging oil, Nick, and you'll be all set. Great question. Thanks for writing in. But hey, we are all out of time. You can do yourself one last favor until we see each other again. You get out there and you keep your boat shipshape.